Welcome to the session 4 of Unit 2. Gradually, we are getting close to the end of this Unit 2 Tools of Economic Analysis. In session 4, we are going to talk about the solution to equations in one variable. This means that we can have equations of 2 variables, 3 variables, and the likes. Now, sometimes you may be confronted with an equation with numbers filled in for all but one of the variable. The problem is then to solve the equation for the unknown variable. We need to know that to solve an equation, we want to get the unknown variable on one side of the sign, that is the equal sign, and everything else on the other sign. That is what we are going to talk about here more and more. And by the end of the session, we believe that you should be able to solve linear equations in only one variable and also solve quadratic equations in one variable. This particular unit 2, is more or less like basic mathematics. So those who are reading basic mathematics have added advantage. So make good use of the basic mathematics skills you have, and it's going to give you an upper hand here. So let's get started with solving linear equations in one variable. Now, a linear equation in a variable x is an equation that can be written in the form mx plus c is equal to 0, where m and c are constants and m should not be equal to 0. Why? When m is equal to 0, x or 0 times any number is 0. So it means this part of the equation also go to 0 and only have the constants, right? So m should not be 0. The linear equation is called a first degree equation or an equation of degree 1. This is because the highest power of the variable, in this case x, the highest power of the variable x that occurs is the first, or the highest power of the variable x is 1. X is raised to the power 1. Any number exponent 1 is the number itself. Solution of linear equations of the form mx plus c equals 0 is a simple matter. It is not difficult. Those of you who have been saying that mathematics is difficult, please stop saying it. Mathematics is very easy. All you need to know is to understand the concepts and you are good to go. Now we begin by getting the terms involving x on one side and the constant on the other side. The moment we do that, we solve for x by the appropriate mathematical operation and we are able to clear everything. Alright, let's take some example. Let me even try and explain something before we look at this example. We said that you take the x on one side and the constant on the other side and solve. Now we said mx plus c equal to 0. So I can make the constant cross to this part to become what? Minus c. Now I can easily make x the surface by dividing both sides by what? M. And this m will cancel this m. Now I have x is equal to 1 minus c over m. Is this not very simple? It is very simple. So let's now solve the question that we have here. Let's solve this question. Now we have 3, then x plus 5, 2x, 7 plus this. Now in mathematics, there is something we've been hearing. We normally in DHS, I think DHS, SHS, we heard what they call board mass. I'm going to introduce you to something else. What I'm going to introduce you is not that different from board mass. I'm going to introduce you to something we call paired mass. Paired mass. Now, paired mass is P stands for parentheses like board mass. The B stands for brackets, parentheses. Now, what the only new thing here is this, the E. The E stands for exponent. Exponents are the E stands for exponent. Exponent. The D stands for what we already know, division. The M is what? Multiplication. Eh? And we know the A to what? Addition, and we know the S to what? Subtraction. So the only thing we have introduced new here is what? The E. The E, the exponent. So instead of bracket of the mod mass is what? Bracket of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. This is saying that brackets or parentheses of exponent, parentheses, exponent, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So when we have equations, you first deal with the parentheses or the bracket first, deal with the exponent first, deal with division, deal with addition, then deal with what? Subtraction. So in this case, this example that we have here, we have to deal with the what? We cannot simplify what is in the bracket, so we go ahead and deal with, we expand, we deal with the expansion or the multiplication. So 3 will multiply x to have what? 3x. 3 will multiply 5 to get what? 15. Then we already have 2x, so we bring it here. Then we repeat, the 7 remains, then we expand this. 5 multiplies 2x to get what? 10x. 5 multiplies minus 1 to get what? Minus 5. Now what we can do is we group like terms. So group all the x's and group all the constants. So we have the 3x here, 2x remaining. We will bring the 10x to this side, to this side, so it will cross the sign to have to become minus, so to become minus 10x. Then we'll maintain the 7 and the minus 5, and we'll come and bring the, it will bring the 15, which when crosses the equal sign becomes what? Minus 15. So here we have 3x plus 5x. So we skip the method, we get 5x, then minus 10x equal to 7 minus 5, I have 2. Then 2 minus 15, I'll have minus 13. 5 minus 10, I'll have minus 5x, which will give me what? 13. Now I want to make x the subject here. What will I do? I'll divide both sides by what? Minus 5. So I have minus 5x equal to minus 13. I'll divide both sides by minus 5, minus 5. The minus will cancel, 5 cancels, minus cancels, minus, I'll get positive. So I'll end up having this 13 over what? 5. 13 over 5. Now let's consider this equation to this long equation. We'll do it just like we did the one on top. Let me erase something so that we can easily solve. Equation was 5, then 2 minus x plus x equal to, so I have 3 minus 2x bracket close plus 4. How do I do? I'll expand. I'll have 5 times 2 is 10 minus 5x plus x. Then this will give me 6 minus 4x plus 4. Then I'll group like terms. I have minus 5x plus x plus 4x. When this 4 minus 4x crosses the sign, I'll get what? Plus 4x. I have 6 plus 4. Then this 10 will cross to here to be what? Minus 10. Now, minus 5x plus x gives me minus 4x plus 4x equal to 10 minus 10. I'll have 0 equal to 0. So it means that everything reduces to 0, 0, and then the solution appears to have been broken down. This is because the equation is in fact an identity. Now let's talk about solution of quadratic equations in one variable. Now a quadratic equation in a variable x is an equation that can be written in a form where the degree or highest degree of x is 2. I'm going to write it on my board for you to see what we are talking about, or what is the standard form or general form of a quadratic equation. Normally it is written as ax squared plus bx plus c equal to 0. So you can see the highest degree of x is what? Is 2. Alright. Now a, b, and c are constants, and we can say that a should not be equal to 0. A quadratic equation is also called a second degree equation, or an equation of degree 2, as I said. Since the highest power of the variable, in this case x, is 2, whereas a linear equation has only one root, a quadratic equation may have 2 different roots. When we say 2 different, we mean like 2 factors. So there are 2 algebraic methods of solving quadratic equation of this form. There are 2 ways of solving quadratic equation of this form. And the first way, we are going to talk of the method of factorization. And the other one, we look at the use of quadratic formula. In basic mathematics, you instead of two, we say three ways, whereby you introduce the method of completing square. Here, we want to limit ourselves to only two ways. So, we are going to look at some examples and we'll solve using the method of factorization and the method of quadratic formula. Take, for instance, equation x squared plus 3x minus 4 equal to 0. I can simply solve this by factorization. Now, if I want to solve this by factorization, I'll multiply the coefficient of x here by this. Now, the coefficient of x here is 1, so 1 times minus 4 is minus 4. I'll then look for factors of this minus 4, that when I add, I'll get 3. Now, here I can have 4 minus 4, I can have minus 1, 4, I can have 2, 2. Or I can even, this minus 4, I can have it minus 2 and positive 2. Now I'm going to focus on this. When I add minus 1 to 4, I'm going to have what? 3. So here I'll have x squared minus x plus 4x minus 4 equal to 0. And I'll have x squared minus x out plus 4x. I'll group this minus 4 equal to 0. Here, the common factor in this part is x. When x comes out, I'll be left with 1x here minus 1. The common factor for this is 4. I can bring 4 out and I have x minus 1. Now I can write this as x minus 1 times x plus 4, all equal to 0. There is something we call zero factor theory, whereby we say AB is equal to 0. When AB is equal to 0, it's either A is equal to 0 or B is equal to 0. So we do the same thing for here. So applying the zero factor theory means that x minus 1 will be 0 or x plus 4 will be 0. We solve this. Now here it means x will be 1 or x, when the 4 crosses, it will be what? Minus 4. So we get two solutions for x. We get two solutions for x. So we say that x plus 4 and x minus 1, the product can be the 0. Here, the zero factor theory. Alright. Whenever the product of the two or more quantities is 0, at least one of them is 0. And that's what we did and found the solution. So this we can write it as x is such that x is equal to 1 or minus 4. Then we close our bracket. And this 1 and minus 4 is what we call the roots of the equation. We can similarly solve this by the quadratic formula. So let me first clean my board and we solve this by the quadratic formula. Remember or take note that here I'm just going to quote the formula for you. It means that you have to choose or memorize the formula. When I write a formula down for you, you would have to make sure that you understand the key terms in the formula. So I'm going to quote the formula to solve examples with the formula and the session comes to an end. The quadratic formula is given by x is equal to minus b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Note the general formula for the quadratic equation is what? Ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to what? 0. So this formula is going to make use of the coefficients here, the constants here. Alright. So with the example that we saw, x squared plus 3x minus 4 equal to 0. Now, what is my a? What is the coefficient for x squared? Now, a is 1. What's the b? What's the coefficient of x here? The b is what? 3. And what is the c here? The c is what? Minus 4. So, we want to find the values of x. So, I'll say x will be equal to minus b. Now, to be what? Minus 3. The b is 3 plus or minus 3 squared minus 4. What is a? A is 1 What is C? C is minus 4. All divided by 2, then A. A is what? 1. So I have x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus 3 squared gives me 9. And minus 4 times 1 times minus 4, I'll get 16. So I have minus 16. Minus 16. All divided by 2. All divided by 2. This is going to give me minus 3. Plus or minus 9 minus 16, what do I get? When I have 9 and I subtract 16 from 8, I'll end up getting a negative number. I'll end up getting minus 7. Now this minus here, minus 7 over the square root is going to give me a complex number. So in this case, the calculator may say math error. But what matters here is that the x means minus 3 plus square root minus 7, 2, or minus 3 minus square root minus 7. Let's take an example whereby the values can actually be solved. So instead of using this equation here, I'm going to change it. So I'm going to change the equation and change the coefficient. So the only thing I'm going to change is actually the b. I want to change the b. When the square of the b is higher than the multiplication of the 4ac, we can easily get a positive under the square root. That is what I want to do. So I'm going to make it x squared plus 5x minus c. So I just change the 3 to 5. Here my a remains 1, b is now 5, and the c is what? Minus 4. So I know that x is equal to minus b. So minus 5 plus minus square root of 5 squared minus 4, 1 times minus 4, 2 times 1, I'll get 2. Now x will be equal to minus 5 plus minus, I have 25, and then minus 4 times minus 4, I'll get plus 16. So I have plus 16 here. Now I'll end up getting something like minus 5 plus minus. This is going to give me 41. Right? Your calculator can simplify this for you to get the answer. Now assume it means that the first one was not a mistake. We had 9. We said minus, since it was supposed to be plus 16. So x would rather be equal to. So let me erase some parts and we bring the first one again. We were not wrong. We were rather right. Yes, I didn't get something clear. So the first equation was, the b was 3, right? So we ended up getting, so I'll solve that one here. We ended up getting x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus 3 squared minus 4, 1 minus 4 over 2a. X is equal to minus 3 plus minus square root 9 plus 16. That was it. We made it minus over 2a. Here we are going to have x is equal to minus 3 plus minus square root of 25 over 2. The a was 1, so instead of 2, so we have minus 3 square root of 25 is 5. Plus or minus 5 over 2. Here it means that x is equal to minus 3 plus 5 on 2, or minus 3 minus 5 on 2. This gives me 2 on 2, or minus 8 on 2. So I can say that x is equal to 1 or x is equal to minus 4, just as we did when we did with the factorization. Now this other side, when I change the b to 5, it's only the calculator that can help us to get the square root of 41. So here it will be minus 5 plus square root of 41 over 2, or minus 5 minus square root of 41 over 2. Your calculator can help you to find the answer. That brings us to the end of this session. See you in session 5, solving simultaneous or solving equations simultaneously. If you don't understand this, the best is to solve more questions on your own, or we put this on repeat over and over for you to understand. Till then, we say thank you.